rising up.
Deji is the real-life Rocky Balboa of the influencer boxing world.
I knew he was going to lose. He didn't train.
And that's why I'm so disappointed.
After experiencing 3 consecutive losses, depression, and tears, he was able to completely transform himself and become a different boxer. Now, his next goal on the horizon is Swarmz. So can Deji finally get back on the winning path? Let's find out. Deji's story. From the very beginning of his YouTube career, Deji was seen by many as simply KSI's brother who happened to luck into everything he had. Supposedly, he wouldn't have been able to achieve anything without his cool brother. This greatly affected Deji's sense of self-worth, and that's why the boxing ring became the place where he wanted to prove himself and show what he's really made of. All coaches, and even KSI himself, immediately said that Deji was a better boxer than his brother and that his punches were stronger. But for some reason, in the future, KSI succeeded while Deji lost his first 3 fights in a row. The reason was lack of discipline and confidence because he simply didn't train, didn't follow a diet, and didn't take the sport seriously, but still wanted to win somehow.
I knew he was going to lose. He didn't train. To him, say, well, I can fight. He never trained. He was meant to be doing his runs. Even the second fight, he was meant to be doing the runs and whatever. They were coming to him, oh, let's run. He didn't train.
This was evident from Deji's very first fight when he faced Jake Paul. Deji was poorly prepared, and his entire strategy was to stand near the ropes, wait for his opportunities to attack, but not take action and be uncertain. It was strange considering that when Deji did attack, his speed and accuracy were evident. He always possessed natural boxing skills, such as speed, defense, and timing. Despite being a weaker boxer than Jake Paul, he constantly punished him because of his natural instinct. Some are born with this instinct, while others may never learn it in their entire life. But of course, this was not enough to beat Paul, who canceled out all of Deji's attempts with a single jab. It was a very painful experience for Deji. As he himself admitted, he fell into a state of depression and didn't even try to resist it. The defeat mentally destroyed him, and no amount of praise from his fans could change the situation. He simply couldn't accept the fact that he had performed so poorly. This defeat had a significant impact on Deji's next fight. He looked terrible. Having gained a lot of weight, he abandoned his previously patient style and recklessly charged at his opponent from the very first second. Someone had convinced Deji that the more weight he had, the better he would perform, which of course is complete nonsense. Extra weight is a trade-off for strength, but it reduces endurance. When Deji couldn't finish the fight with brute force, he started to get tired quickly. Despite landing some good hits and relying on his natural skills, his opponent Hacker endured it all. Deji was in terrible shape without any game plan. As he himself admitted, his goal was to knock out his opponent, which any boxing expert would tell you is the worst game plan for a fighter, even if you're Mike Tyson. Because if you can't knock out your opponent, you're left one-on-one with your fatigue. After the fight, there was a heartbreaking moment when Deji almost cried and said that he was a failure, but his opponent said, "No, Deji, you can do it. Today just wasn't your day." It's rare to see something so touching after a fight, and Hacker deserves respect for that. Before his next fight, Deji took his training seriously, lost weight, and began to train more. He said he stopped being a lazy piece of shit, but it wasn't enough, and he lost again. This time to Alex Wasabi. It was the hardest time of his life. If it were any other blogger, they would have quit forever after those losses, even with their natural talent and potential. 3 losses are the end of a career. Even KSI told Deji it was time to quit, which broke his heart.
Life isn't about being the best. It's all about doing the best that you can. And you simply didn't. And that's why I'm so disappointed. That's all I have to say.
He dreamed of winning and hugging his brother after the victory, and hearing that was too painful for him. But this story is a prime example of never giving up, because Deji came back to fight Fauzi, and he became a completely different person. In that fight, he shocked everyone. Deji was destroying his opponent with incredible speed, agility, and head movement. Of course, his opponent was weaker than all his previous ones, but Deji entered the fight as if Muhammad Ali had possessed him. His speed was incredible, with plenty of feints, like a hook on a straight. His slips allowed him to avoid every punch. Deji didn't just improve, he stopped looking like a typical influencer boxer who often looks clumsy and atypical. Deji's technique now looks like traditional boxing. He uses the jab like a professional. For example, a sharp jab that distracts and sets up a hard uppercut to the body. Deji was able to bring together all the best traits he had shown in his previous fights and further develop them. Yes, he was patient like in his fight with Jake and could read Fauzi 5 steps ahead. Yes, he sometimes pressed like in the fight with Hacker. This time, he had a solid game plan, and he executed it brilliantly. It's not often that you see such a remarkable comeback in boxing. Personally, I was so overjoyed for Deji that I cannot express it in words. It takes a heartless person not to be thrilled about such a comeback. After that, he fought Floyd Mayweather, and in that fight, Deji was able to cut the best boxer of our time. Yes, he lost every round, but even Conor McGregor did less damage than him. Swarmz and the prediction. Swarmz is the perfect opponent for Deji, as he is a novice, twitchy, and lacks technique, fighting solely on emotions. In his fight against KSI, Swarmz simply ran away throughout the match with a silly expression on his face. Additionally, his trainers failed to instruct him not to run under KSI's right hand, which is his main weapon. Swarmz continuously circled to the right, resulting in him being hit by KSI's legendary overhand right. Although he managed to land a few jabs and attempted overhead punches while running away, that was the only thing he excelled in during the fight. Of course, Swarmz is much better than someone like Pineda, but he still has a lot of training to do to stand up to experienced boxers like KSI. So even if Deji is still not on the same level as KSI, half of KSI's skills are enough to defeat Swarmz. This is why the fight will go perfectly for Deji. Swarmz has no chance of winning, and furthermore, it's quite possible that Deji will finally show off his most beautiful knockout.